Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do a little bit of a lecture on BMSs, battery management systems. What are they good for? Why do they exist? Well, they exist to manage the battery, and that sounds simplistic, but it's actually very important to lithium batteries and other chemistries that may be out there. This guy right here is a BMS board. We're going to go over it a little bit. This is a 10S board. So what does that mean? 10S is batteries in series. So if we have 10 of these 18650 batteries in series, we will create basically a 36 volt package. But we need to know what the voltage is of each leg in this series so that they're balanced. Balance means a better battery pack. They last longer, it's safer. So we could take these leads, if in our 10 battery, and we start with the ground wire. That would be on this leg here, and then the next red, and then you would build out your 10S battery. So what is it doing? It's actually measuring the battery voltage between this end and this end, and then this end to this end. And if it falls outside of a certain range, usually around 3 volts on the low end, 4.2 on the big end, it will shut down the entire system. There are MOSFETs in here that control and turn off the actual voltage. If there was a short found and it drawed a massive amount of amperages real quick, it would shut that down. If it was getting too low, if the whole pack was getting below 30 volts, it would cut that off. And that's to save the battery. These batteries are pretty sensitive. If they drop too low in voltage, they'll just start to fail on you. And I've had a couple of those happen. So one of the ways you'd see BMS is being used is in commercial batteries like this. So here is a battery using a BMS that is integrated, and so nothing on the outside, it's all built in. This battery here is 18 volt. I think it maxes out at about 21 volts, 20 volts, and then I think on the low side it's 14 or 15 or so. But if you remember in the advertising, when these became popular a good number of years ago, they advertised a no fade battery. And really that's a misnomer. It's not really accurate. It still can fade, but the thing is that when it gets to a certain voltage, it just cuts off. So it uses all the available energy it can supply that tool, and then it just shuts off. And the way it does that is when the pack gets to a certain voltage, it just shuts down. It also protects it if your charger goes too much, it stops it from overcharging. Got a battery level there to show you where the state of charge, and that's just a 4-segment indicator. So anywhere from the 3 volts to 4.2 volts in each cell would go. And this battery, even though you can't see it, is just made up of these batteries. 18650s, a certain number of those in there. There are other batteries in the RC world that are designed for high current output, but these do not have built-in BMS capabilities. But if you're in this hobby, you would all know about the charger, and the charger has a connector on it that would actually balance this as it charged. So there's no balancing as it's in use or while it's being depleted by your RC vehicle, but it is balanced when it's charged so that when it gets up to full voltage, all the cells in the pack are the same voltage. Again, another battery here is even bigger. This one is just like the we talked about earlier, the 10S, but this one doubles it up. So there's 20 of these batteries in there. And again, when it gets to 30 volts, it shuts off. When it's charged up to 4.2 volts, or maybe a little lower, it stops charging. Now, let's talk about an interesting situation where you have a device like this flashlight. This flashlight uses this battery. But a flashlight is not very smart. They can make it smart. They could put electronics in here to say that when the battery gets down to a certain level at 3 volts, just cut off. But that would add a lot of manufacturing to this flashlight, and it might not sell as well because of the cost involved. So if I was to put a regular 18650 battery in here, turn it on, and just wait till it dies, is my battery ruined? No, this battery is actually kind of special. This one's a little different than the ones you might buy off the shelf or from a website. This actually has a circuit board right here. Very hard to see, but it actually is right there. It's a tiny little board that does the exact same thing as these bigger boards, but on a 1S scale, one battery. Here is what these electronic boards look like, a little bigger for a different project. You'll see these come into play in a project we're working on now. That is 5 1S systems. So I'd break one of these off, and if I had a regular 18650 battery, I could put it on there and wrap it up, run a lead to each side, and then these posts here would be my load posts, where I would put the actual send to the electronics. So outside here would go to this side, this would go to this side, and then I would draw and charge off of those two. But it does the same thing. If this cell gets below 3 volts, it just shuts off. If it goes over 4.2 volts, it stops charging. So that is what this is for. So we're going to use these in our next project, where the batteries, we need to make sure that they're managed, but they actually will not be in series, but we will have 4 batteries that we need to take care of. So look for that in our next video. I hope that was educational. I hope you enjoyed it. Please subscribe, click the like button, and I will hopefully produce more videos in the near future. Thank you for watching.